The Red Raiders dominated their Big 12 rivals in Oklahoma State by a score of 42-0. In today's video, we'll discuss what went well for Texas Tech as well as what the Red Raiders have to improve upon going into the most critical two-game stretch, arguably, in program history, considering the expectations. In today's video, we'll discuss why the Texas Tech defense is all kinds of elite and Jacob Rodriguez is still not getting enough credit, as well as do we have an issue with the Texas Tech offensive line? Let's discuss. Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's RC Maxfield here for the Red and Black Report. Appreciate y'all tuning into today's video. If you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button as it's the easiest way to help support the channel. And, well, it's 100% free Texas Tech content all year long. Whether it's on the gridiron or the hardwood, we've got you covered right here on the RBR. Now, I heard y'all's suggestions last week, and there was a ton of positive feedback when it came to this good and bad video. So I appreciate that. We'll keep them going through the end of the season. And today we're going to start off with the good, because I think there is a player on Texas Tech that is getting a ton of credit, but still not enough. And his name is Jacob Rodriguez. Yet again, double-digit tackles in this one, 6 solos, 1 tackle for loss, 1 forced fumble that he recovered, and then decided, you know what? Let me just go 69 yards for a house call on this one. Jacob Rodriguez should be in the discussion as one of the greatest linebackers to ever wear the scarlet and black. Full stop. Okay? He's that good. I think he should be in the conversation with Zach Thomas. And I know some, people that watch Zach Thomas in the 90s are going to come at me, but I'm telling you right now, Jacob Rodriguez is one of the greatest defensive players. Sorry, I said that wrong. I'm limiting him there. Jacob Rodriguez is one of the greatest football players to ever wear the scarlet and black. And he is proving it each and every week with the expectations that this team has, and they are led by the defense, and he is the leader of the defense. Yes, that pass rush is elite, but there is no reason on God's green earth that Jacob Rodriguez should not be the favorite to win the Buckus Award, which is the linebacker of the year in all of college football. And damn it, get his name at least in the running for the Heisman. I understand it's a quarterback award or high-end running back. Typically, that's what's going to happen, right? Or one of those unique two-way players in Travis Hunter. I truly understand that. But get him in the discussion, because what he is doing on a Texas Tech defense that ranks top 5 in a plethora of metrics is unreal. He's one of the greatest players to ever wear the scarlet and black, and appreciate him while he is here, Red Raider Nation, because greatness does not happen like this very often. So I wanted to start with him on the good. Let's go to the bad real quick. Go straight left on his name to the quarterback spot, and that's where the bad is in terms of the quarterback injuries, okay? Will Hammond will have an MRI on his knee. Yes, his knee, not his ankle. There was some speculation on social media that it was an ankle injury. I was told when it happened by someone on the sideline, they shot me a text saying, hey, it's a knee injury and the vibes aren't great. Again, we don't go off vibes here on the channel when it comes to injuries. We want to see what that MRI says in terms of the imaging and how long Will Hammond will miss, if any time at all. But as it stands right now, Mitch Griffis will be the backup to Behren Morton at Kansas State. At least that's what it sounds like. As Joey McGuire said post-game, after the 42-0 victory against Oklahoma State, that if this was a higher level of competition or more competitive game, I believe is how he phrased it, Behren Morton would have played. So they basically knew that they could win this game without Behren Morton. They wanted to play it uber precautious, which I kind of understand, and then have him ready to go at Kansas State. That's what it sounds like is going to happen here, and you have to have QB1 back. And we'll talk about Mitch Griffis here in a little bit, but Behren Morton has to be back for Texas Tech against Kansas State. The Red Raiders opened up as 6.5-point favorites in terms of the early lines for this Kansas State matchup, but this Texas Tech Red Raider offense really looked pretty solid with Mitch Griffis, and I don't think that is a surprise considering Mitch Griffis is more of a parallel to Behren Morton's playing style, more so than Will Hammond. And Behren Morton is going to be imperative for Texas Tech in a stretch of games here over the next 2 weeks that are, in my opinion, maybe the 2 most important games in program history. Reason being is this. I'm not trying to overshoot this by any stretch of the imagination, but if you handle business against Kansas State, that BYU matchup is all but a Big 12 title appearance clinching game. I mean, you handle business, right? And you're going to have to play UCF after that. You're going to have to play West Virginia. No disrespect to those schools. They're more on, the path of Oklahoma State than BYU when it comes to talent level and really what teams are doing on the gridiron. No disrespect to them, but these next 2 weeks, most notably Kansas State, because it's this week's game, is hypercritical, and you have to have Behren Morton back. All right. Let's get those stats back on the screen for you. And I want to talk about another good here. Talked about the defense. We talked about one bad and the quarterback injuries. The vertical passing game. Listen, I'm a guy that when I'm critical of someone, if they prove me wrong, I'm going to give them flowers. And you know what? Let me get full screen for this. I apologize to Mac Leftwich in terms of maybe not apologize, but I'll give you your flowers, man. I was uber critical of you in terms of the lack of vertical passing game against Arizona State. And I know what someone's about to say in the comments below. Well, it's much easier to have a vertical passing game against Oklahoma State than it is Arizona State. I agree with you on that, but you at least got to try. He didn't really try against Arizona State. And that, don't take my word for it. Mac Leftwich was even critical of himself, saying, I have to be better about pushing the ball downfield or putting these guys in a position to succeed when it comes to pushing the ball downfield. He did so in this game. Now, did it work every time? No. Prime example is actually Reggie Virgil just flat out dropping what would have been close to a 50-yard TD throw by Will Hammond early on in this game, right? He missed it, but the play design was there. Reggie Virgil won, and 9 times out of 10, he's going to catch that football. And I can guarantee you this, the next time that happens, Reggie Virgil will take that to the crib, okay? He will. No one is more sick about that play than Reggie Virgil. I can promise you that. But this Texas Tech offense looked better because it was pushing the ball downfield. And I know there's going to be some people that said, well, they got away from the run game. They got away from the run game, and Cam Dickey and Jacoby Williams really weren't that involved. Like, I think that was actually a good thing here. And the reason being is this: we know what those running backs can do, right? And we know to some degree what the wide receivers can do. But you have to get those guys confident on the outside in terms of the vertical passing game, and you have to make teams like Kansas State and BYU prepare for that. And when they do prepare for that, that will take 1 or 2 guys out of the box, and that inherently will give easier opportunities or looks to Cam Dickey and Jacoby Williams in the run game. Okay. We'll talk about what I'm concerned about when it comes to the run game. It's not those running backs. No, we'll talk about it here in a minute. But I thought the vertical passing game really stood out for the Red Raiders in this one. All right, real quick. This is a bad, and this is probably me being nitpicky. Don't hear what I'm not saying here. I'm going to say the bad was special teams, but one specific aspect of it, and it was the place kicking. They missed 2 kicks. I still have the utmost confidence in Upton Belafonte and Stone Harrington. I think they are great in terms of what they've done. And there's this old saying, at least that I say, I don't know if anybody else says it, you can't trust college kickers. Well, Texas Tech has kind of skewed that for me in the sense of they've been really good in the kicking game the past 2 or 3 years. These 2 guys are really, really good. I have all the confidence in the world in them. I would rather them miss kicks against Oklahoma State in a game where you know you're going to beat the breaks off of them, a BTA type situation, if you know what I mean, and not in a game like Kansas State or BYU. So I think they got those out of the way. I still have all the confidence in the world in them in terms of kicking field goals, extra points, whatever it may be. They're really good. I just did think that was bad in terms of them missing some, but at the end of the day, they are human. All right, let's get the stats up real quick because I have to give one more good before we get to the biggest bad for me in this one. And some people will say I'm a pink Raider in the comments. You know who you are. What a dumbass comment that is. Anyway, I digress. Mitch Griffis was phenomenal in this game. Yes, he came in with a 28-0 lead, but the way he came in and really just seamlessly kept this offense moving, I thought was phenomenal. And this is not a shot at Will Hammond whatsoever. I thought the offense kind of looked better under Mitch Griffis. Maybe I was wrong there, but let me know. And when I say look better, I know what you're thinking. My big point there is in the passing game. And the reason I think it looked better is because, well, he did connect on that big play to Caleb Payday Douglas. If Will Hammond and Reggie Virgil connected and Reggie Virgil just didn't flat out drop that touchdown pass, probably would have been the exact same. So I'm probably being too critical of Will Hammond there, but I think he's going to be a superstar later on, and we'll monitor his injury status moving forward. But Mitch Griffis was phenomenal in this one, and he's a guy that, in his words, really hasn't played major competition or meaningful football in the sense of conference play football in like 2 years. I couldn't tell. I mean, I get it's Oklahoma State and they're the worst team in the Power Four, but I thought he was sensational in this one and really, really gave a lot of confidence to the Red Raider offense, most notably on the outside pass catchers, and specifically Caleb Payday Douglas, who had 10 targets in this one, 5 catches, 98 yards, a touchdown in the aforementioned deep ball, which was a 42-yard touchdown reception from Mitch Griffis. So had to give him his flowers on that front. All right. Before we get into my last bad, and the one that I think probably concerns me the most, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button, and let me know your good and bad takeaways from this Oklahoma State game for your Red Raiders as they are set to embark on, again, maybe the most important 2-game stretch, at least in recent program history, but maybe overall. I mean, this is unreal what these 2 games mean, considering your last 2 opponents are of lesser, stature within the Big 12. I get it. You're going to need to handle business there, but these next 2 opponents, they're going to test you quite a bit. All right. We have to have a conversation about the offensive line. And I'm going to call out one guy specifically. And the reason being, I'm going to call this guy out after we discuss the entire offensive line is because you're the star there. You're the leader of the offensive line. You're the guy that should be, at worst, a day 2 NFL draft pick, okay? And we'll talk about him more ad nauseum here in a second. But I thought the offensive line for Texas Tech was a roller coaster against Oklahoma State, much like it's been for the entire season. I thought the left side of the offensive line was pretty damn good in the first half, outside of maybe like 2, maybe 3 snaps, okay? The right side, Davon Carter struggles in the run game. That shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. He's a smaller offensive lineman, stands 6 foot, maybe 6'1" on a good day. He's more of a pass pro guy. I thought Jacob Ponton struggled at times, and there was a couple of times where the Oklahoma State edge rusher just flat out blew past him. Okay, I thought Sheridan Wilson had an average game, right? Will Jados, I mean, he was solid in this one, but nothing spectacular. The guy that I'm calling out because I know he is the leader of this offensive line, and this offensive line has to be better, is Howard Sampson. Don't hear what I'm not saying. Howard Sampson has been fine, okay? And he's even been great in a couple of games this season, but he hasn't been great consistent. In order for this Texas Tech offense to be on the caliber of the Texas Tech defense, and they're more than capable of doing so, it starts up front, and damn it starts with Howard Sampson. Howard Sampson is a guy that there is no reason on God's green earth shouldn't be arguably the most dominant offensive tackle in the Big 12. And that includes the guys at Utah. Okay. He is a dominant physical presence, a mountain of a man, 6'8", 340, moves like a point guard out there in terms of offensive line statures. Okay. He has to be better in every aspect of the game. I thought he was fine yesterday. I thought he was fine, but that's not good enough for Howard Sampson. We expect greatness out of him, and I understand he's human, and sometimes you're not going to have your A game every time. But in order for the Red Raiders to reach their ceiling, they need Baron Morton upright. And damn it starts on the left side there with Howard Sampson because he is the leader of that offensive line. He has to be better consistently, and so does the entire unit. But it starts on that left side with Howard Sampson, who has NFL pedigree. Prove it to us each and every damn week, Howard, right? You're a star, dude. Prove it to us. Dominate those guys. There is no reason why some of these dudes that are 6'2", 250 should be getting around you with the power. Yeah, I understand you're human. You're going to lose sometime, but there was consistent times where it felt like Oklahoma State was winning on the offensive line against Howard Sampson. And again, not just him. It's everyone on the offensive line, but we know how you treat stars. The stars get all the shine, and unfortunately, they get the blame. And I'm calling out Howard Sampson. I think he's going to be better against Kansas State. I truly do. I think this Texas Tech offensive line is going to come out and have arguably their best game of the season against Kansas State. But damn it, we have to see it, and we have to see it quickly because now your quarterback room is even a little bit more thin. You cannot allow Baron Morton to get hurt. And also, another call out to Mac Leftwich. Damn it, stop running QB power. For the love of everything holy, stop it. You have Cam Dickey and Jacoby Williams. Stop running QB power. Please. Please. All right. So the good for Texas Tech in this Oklahoma State matchup, the defense, the vertical passing game, and Mitch Griffis. Got to give credit to Mitch Griffis. I thought he was phenomenal in this one. The bad, unfortunately, there are injuries, more so in the quarterback room. Sounds like Baron Morton has a very good chance to play against Kansas State. But again, just another reason to subscribe is we'll keep you updated once we get official word of who QB1 will be for Texas Tech up in Manhattan next Saturday. The offensive line, you heard my rant. You got to get better up front. Starts with Howard Sampson just because he is the star of the show. Starts with the star, trickles down on that front. And then I was probably nitpicky on the special team side of things, but it was just because they missed a couple of place kicks, which I don't think will be very often. I thought Texas Tech was actually pretty damn good in this game overall, and it was hard to find that third bad to keep it flowy, 3 good, 3 bad. But all right, that's going to do it for today's video. If you haven't already, be sure to like the video, hit that subscribe button to stay in the know on all things Texas Tech football all year long right here on the largest independent Texas Tech YouTube channel in the Red and Black Report. All right, I'm RC Maxfield reminding you, as always, stay safe and Reckham Tech.